Samsung might be planning something big with the Galaxy S26, and it could make a big difference, especially when it comes to price. A new leak says that Samsung might use a different version of the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 processor in the S26, but this one could be made by Samsung instead of the usual chipmaker, TSMC. This rumor has been going around for a while, but now a well-known leaker called Digital Chat Station has added more proof. They say Samsung is still working on its own version of the chip, known by the model number SM8850S. Well, the TSMC version is called SM8850. The fact that both chips are being tested suggests Samsung is thinking seriously about using its own chip. Why does this matter? Mainly because of cost. Making the chip in-house could save Samsung money. If Samsung can make the chip themselves instead of paying TSMC, they might be able to sell the Galaxy S26 for a lower price or at least avoid raising the price like many other brands do each year. That sounds great for customers. Phones have been getting more expensive every year, and finding ways to keep prices down would be good news. If Samsung can use their own factory to make the chip and pass the savings on to buyers, it could help the Galaxy S26 stand out. But there's a catch. Samsung has made chips before, and their performance hasn't always been great. In the past, phones with Samsung-made chips had more problems like getting too hot, running slower, or using more battery. That's why some users may feel worried if Samsung goes back to using its own chips again. Still, Samsung has been working hard to improve their chip-making process. It's possible that their version of the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 could finally be just as good as the TSMC version. If that happens, we could see top performance at a better price. That would be a win for Samsung and for customers. Another interesting thing is that Samsung might not be the only company using this cheaper chip. Brands like Xiaomi and Honor could also consider using it in their flagship phones. That could help keep prices low across the Android market, especially in countries where phone prices are a big concern. Samsung might also use their own Exynos 2600 chip in some versions of the Galaxy S26. That means they haven't made a final decision yet. It's likely that different regions will get different chips, like we've seen before. For example, some countries might get the Snapdragon version, while others get the Exynos one. In the end, what users really care about is how well the phone works. Whether it's a Samsung-made Snapdragon, a TSMC-made one, or an Exynos chip, it needs to offer smooth performance, stay cool, and have good battery life. If Samsung can do that, it won't matter much who made the chip. It's also worth noting that Samsung might be trying to follow Apple's lead. Apple has made its own chips for years and always delivers strong performance and efficiency. Samsung seems to want that same kind of control over its hardware. So here's the question: would you be okay with a Samsung-made chip if it meant a lower price for the S26? Some people might say yes, as long as the phone runs well. Others might still prefer the proven quality of TSMC chips. It really depends on how well Samsung does with this new version. One thing's for sure, all eyes will be on Samsung. The Galaxy S26 could be a game changer, not just because of new features or camera upgrades, but because of what's inside. If Samsung can give users a fast, reliable phone at a better price, the S26 could be one of the most exciting phones of the year. Now we just have to wait and see what Samsung decides. Will they use their own chip, stick with TSMC, or maybe both? Whatever they choose, let's hope it's a smart decision for them and for all of us who use their phones every day.